Have you ever had a problem in your software? Tried to explain it to your team, but everyone just stared at you? This happens a lot, even to native English speakers. What I'm hoping to achieve today is to try and show you a simple method to clearly explain technical problems when you are speaking English. Let's first look quickly at the mistakes that we're making when we are explaining a problem. Mistake number one is too many details at once. What do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. So the issue here, but it actually started last week. No, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Initially, when we were integrating that new library, I think it was the version released in February or wait, it could have been early March. We ran into a problem because the dependencies weren't fully compatible. Then John, you know John from QA, right? Well, he pointed out that the issue wasn't just dependencies, but potentially also with API limits. Anyway, I thought I'd run some extra tests, but then I got sidetracked because Sarah from Dev had questions about the deployment scripts. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if it's the API, the library, or something else entirely. So, yeah, we're still figuring it out. What do you think? My question for you is, did you get any details from that? If you did, well done. Well done. Now, an explanation like that, while it is normal and probably something that most native speakers do as well, is really confusing because it lacks focus and clarity. We have so much unnecessary details and side stories. We don't need to know about John. We don't need to know about Sarah. We don't need to know exactly when it was released or which patch it was or too much information. And the last point with that one is it doesn't clearly communicate what the core issue is, what action is needed. A much better way to say that whole long speech is we're having an issue with our recent integration, possibly due to incompatible dependencies or API limits. Still narrowing down the exact cause, I'd like your input to help pinpoint it quickly. Do you see the difference? Mistake number two is using unclear words like it doesn't work or it's broken. If we use it's broken without any more details, it can mean anything from the button doesn't click or the entire server caught fire. Be clear with what you are saying and give a little bit more detail, but not too much. I have a 3-step method that I want you to try and apply. The first step is clearly say what the problem is. The example that I have here is the login button doesn't respond when users click on it. Obviously, this is a very simple problem, and oftentimes you might be dealing with more complex problems. Try and explain what the problem is in 2 or 3 sentences. I don't want you to use more than that. The second step is to explain exactly when or where it happens. For example, it happens on mobile phones, especially Android devices. This is explaining the when and the where. Remember, when is to do with the timing, and where is to do with the place. And the last step is to tell your team why this problem is important. Many of our users log in from their phones, so this problem affects our app's usability. With these 3 steps, you can clearly see that we are using what, when or where, and the why. Let's run through it all together. The login button doesn't respond when users click it. It happens on mobile phones, especially Android devices. Many of our users log in from their phones, so this problem affects our app's usability. Simple, right? Easy and clear to understand. What I would like you to do as a team lead, if you are having to explain a problem to your team, write down the 3 steps for yourself so that you can go into the meeting prepared, and that you can go in there and you know exactly what to say. Remember, we don't need to include the details on who worked on it unless your team specifically asks for that information. And remember, this can also be transformed into the questions that you ask. Let's have a look at the following example. Team lead walks in. Hey team, we have a problem. The 90 backup isn't running. Well, the developer says, I have 2 questions. When did it start and when does it stop running? Because number 1, we need to know the exact day that it started because maybe there's a patch update that happened on that day. And we need to know the time because maybe it's running fine during the day, but at night it's not working. And we need to know the time that it starts happening so we can have a look at the logs. As a team lead, you turn around and say, well, it started 2 nights ago and it stops around midnight every night. We are now getting into the details, okay? But it is clear details. Obviously, as a developer, you probably know why this is a priority, but just to double check, why is this a priority? Because if we lose our data at night, we have no recent backups. Let's check the logs together. This obviously also depends on how hands-on you are as a team lead, and you might be delegating this task to someone else. Remember that simple English works best. I want you to say the problem clearly, say when it happens, and explain why it matters. This is how you become clear, understandable, and effective as a team lead. What I want to know from you is what is the hardest part for you when explaining your problems in English? Tell me in the comments and let's see if I can help you. And as always, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next.